All right. Hello. If you can hear me, push some like buttons. That helps people see this show. And you might also, if you can see me, you might be wondering if you're in the right place. You might be thinking, what is my favorite Roseville real estate agent doing at the candidates forum? Well, I will get to that in just a little bit here. But first, let me welcome you. Let me welcome you to the 2022 Candidates Forum. It's become somewhat of a tradition now for the Roseville City School District Foundation to host the RCSD Candidates Forum. Now, just to clarify, the foundation is a nonprofit organization, and though they work very closely with the school board, superintendent, and the district staff, they are volunteering. They're a volunteer and nonprofit organization separate from the actual school district. So it's the foundation's mission and purpose to enhance, expand, and enrich the lives of our Roseville City school kids. And they do that primarily through supporting music education and by providing grants to teachers for extracurricular programs. It's actually one of the coolest things that they do, which is it's called their Partners in Education Grant. I'm Jeff Goolsby. I'm currently serving my 4th year on the foundation, and I get to be the moderator and host for today. In addition to meeting these amazing individuals who are willing to serve our students and compete for your vote for the opportunity to sit in those chairs right behind them, I also get to wear this tuxedo. So I'm super excited to be here and start asking some questions that our parents care about and want to know in regards to their roles on the school board. So we're going to start off this candidates forum with opening remarks from our or opening introductions from our candidates. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer their questions, and then we'll do a closing remarks at the end. We can't see any of your comments or questions right now. However, I would say that if you do have comments or questions, in past times, people asked those questions and some candidates went back in onto social media and answered those comments later. So if you're tuning in right now and you have your own questions, additional thoughts, you may want to post them here. All right, so we are going to start off with our first candidate, Rob Becerra.
Just a quick 10-second introduction. Rob Becerra. I currently serve on the school board, finishing up my 4th year on the board. Extremely excited to be here and extremely appreciative of the foundation for hosting this event.
Next candidate is Elisa Fong.
Hi, good evening. My name is Elisa Fong. I have been on the school board for 6 years now, and I'm currently serving as the board president. And again, would also like to thank the foundation for putting on this event. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.
Tim Meyer, Roseville resident for 25 years, an attorney at a law firm, also an educator for 48 years.
Don't forget to push.
Jonathan Zackerson, resident of Roseville for, I think 12, 13 years. I am thankful for the foundation for putting this on. Happy to be here. I am a education policy director, an advocate for students and families, and most importantly, a parent.
Hi, my name is Renee Aguilera, and I was born and raised in Roseville, having attended Kirby, Ike, and Roseville High School. And I'm going to be asking for your vote tonight.
Great, thank you, candidates. So we're just going to dive into our very first question. And the first question is going to go to Rob Becerra. The question is, why are you running for the Roseville City School District board position? And if elected, what do you bring to the table as a board member?
Thank you very much for the question. And I'll say this is that I'm a product of Roseville. My family moved to the city of Roseville in 1914. And it has truly become just a fabric of who I am as a person. My grandfather served on this school board starting in 1964. And I graduated from Wood Creek High School and have just always looked for ways to give back to the community. I'm a product of local education. I went to Sac State. I have an undergraduate degree in politics, public policy, a master's degree in public administration, focusing on primarily on community engagement, community outreach. I've worked for the city of Roseville since I was 16 years old. And for my first almost 15 years with the city, I worked with at-risk youth. And I worked with kids in need in our communities, providing them programs before and after school, providing them summer enrichment. And that's just one small way where I wanted to contribute back to my community. You know, I look at why I'm running, and I'm running because I'm a parent. I have three kids, TK, third grade and fifth grade. And this is their school district. The policies that we make here in this boardroom will impact my kids and their future. So, you know, to finalize, you know, your last part of the question was, you know, what do I bring to the table? And that's, I bring the parent's perspective. I bring the ground floor of what it looks like every day to get a kid to school at 7:45 a.m.
Elisa?
Thanks again for having me, Jeff. The reason I'm running for school board was the same reason that I ran for school board in 2016. I'm a parent, I have 2 kids, and I wanted to be involved in my kids' education and in my community. So I bring a lot of broad experience in school leadership to the table. I have been the PTC president of Diamond Creek Elementary, where my kids went to school, the PTC president of Cooley Middle School, where my kids also went to school. I have a son now at Wood Creek, and then I have one that graduated from Roseville High School. So my kids are products of the Roseville City School District, and they had a wonderful education here. I was very engaged and involved, and I think it's really important that we have parents on the school board that have a big stake in the process, that know what it takes to support our schools and what we want, what we need to support our teachers. So I bring a lot of different experiences to the board. I have a law degree. I'm a very involved parent. I've been on school site council. I've, you know, been a room parent. I've been on, I've done all of the staff luncheons. I mean, so I've really been engaged and involved. I have a lot of relationships within the school district with staff and with teachers and with a lot of parents. So I feel like I really bring that integration of being a parent and then my experience as a school board member to the table to serve the students of Roseville. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity to have served for the last 6 years. And I really feel like I've gotten to know the district, not just as a parent, but also as a board member. And I think it's really important, and especially in these last few years, to have that experience to guide the district and to put all of our interest in favor of the students and to put our students first. So that's why I'm running for school board.
Great. Ken?
Yes, well, I have quite a background in education, as I think these guys do as well, but I have a BA from the University of California at Berkeley in Slavic languages and literatures, MBA from University of Montana, PhD from the University of Texas, Austin in accounting and law. I have a Juris Doctorate and a Master of Law as well. And now I'm currently on the faculty of William Jessup. Now, the reason I bring that up is because having all that time in the classroom and also teaching in the classroom has given me time to have a real perspective on education. I saw something that was very disturbing to me today. The California results for test scores came out, and California students ranked as 5th graders, 8th grade students ranked as 5th graders. And all across the board mentions in the article that I see that California is a permanent bottom dweller on the list of math and reading scores. And this is extremely disturbing. This has been going on for a generation. And the reasons for it are something I don't have time to talk about right now. but maybe I will in some of the questions. But it disturbs me. And the reason I'm running is to try to reverse that trend, to try and bring our students back up to where achievement means something and where, hard work has its rewards. And I think that, it's not our teachers' fault. I think that it's a development that has happened over a period of time, and it's been creeping up and creeping up. And our educational system has suffered tremendously. And I think as a board member, I'd like to try to do something to at least reverse that trend.
All right, Jonathan.
Thank you. So the reason I'm running is foremost is because I care about our kids, I care about our community and the future of both of those. But the longer answer, would be personally, like I said, I have kids and that range from 5 months old to 18 years old. The older kids have gone through Roseville City School District schools. I'm planning on having more kids, my wife and I do. So obviously caring about the keeping our schools strong is very important to me. Professionally, I have over 20 years of business experience. I've spent 10 years in market research firm. I've spent about 3 to 4 years as an auditor for a CPA firm where I audited financial statements and internal controls. And now I'm a finance manager for a large healthcare system. So I believe that financial expertise could add value to the district. And then from an advocacy level, I founded Reopen California Schools in 2020 to try to bring back normalcy for our kids and get them back in the classroom. As it's kind of been alluded to and will probably be alluded to more tonight with some of the questions, that's key, right? I think Roseville did a really good job getting our kids back earlier, partly because of existing board members, but also because of the advocacy in the community. And so I'd like to bring that to the table, some of my involvement in relationships I have with state leaders, to focus on how do we drive state policy for things that we see here in Roseville so that we can better serve the needs of our community.
Okay, Renee.
Yes, I have devoted most of my adult life to education in Roseville. I served 14 years on Roseville school boards, and I have volunteered at schools for many years as a community representative, speaking to students about attending college and even representing my alma mater, UC Davis, most recently at the Roseville Joint Union High School district-wide college fair at Granite Bay last month. My professional development includes earning a master's in governance from the California School Board Association, which has assisted me with the importance of preparing for school board meetings, voting on key personnel decisions, and on school fiscal responsibilities. I'm running to be able to represent all constituency groups in the community, students, parents, teachers, and staff, and I want to be your advocate, and I want to hear your concerns. I'm running to create stronger ties between the school board and stakeholders. I served with current Roseville Mayor Krista Bernasconi and Roseville High School board member Scott Huber when they were on the school board. I'm running to help influence the district budget and the fiscal health of the district where voter taxpayer money is spent. I'm running because I'm an effective communicator and good listener in English and Spanish. After graduating from high school, as I said earlier, I graduated from UC Davis, and then I worked for the state of California as a governmental program analyst. So I have extensive experience and knowledge. And then, of course, I have many years on the school board of the elementary and the high school board previously, exactly 14 years. So I continue my involvement in civic activities, having graduated from the Roseville Leadership Program, sponsored by the Roseville Chamber of Commerce. And I have been a member of the advisory Roseville Crime Stoppers, board member Roseville Coalition of Neighborhood Associations, Performing Arts of Roseville, Community Leadership Council, and members of the Lions Club. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And so our next question is for Elisa to start with, is what are the biggest challenges that you see for the school district in the coming years?
So as far as the biggest challenges, I would say that it's really just improving academic outcomes. I think that's the most important thing for our parents. I think that's the biggest challenge for our state. And I think it's also the biggest challenge for our own district. We have really strong schools here. We have great support systems. We have great staff. But I feel like we have not reached our full potential there. And I feel like we need to make sure that as much resources as possible are able to be generated and generated into the classrooms. And I think that's the biggest concern for our parents. I think every parent, when they send their kids to school, they want them to get a good, high quality education. And, the test results are just not there for some of our students. And I think that we really need to look at how we're approaching things and making sure all the resources are dedicated to those areas that are supporting kids and those academic outcomes. And going hand in hand with academic outcomes is making sure that our students feel safe and comfortable and welcome in our schools. So it's a very strong and positive learning environment for them. Our kids have been through a lot the last few years, and we're definitely seeing some of the impacts of that, and that's affecting their learning as well. So we need to make sure that we get enough resources and enough supports in for our students and for our staff to make sure that our kids are able to reach their full potential academically. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges. And I think the other challenge is really just managing our fiscal house. I mean, making sure that we're planning for our future growth, we're planning for future programs, we're planning to make sure that all of our students are getting the resources they need to be successful, whether that's reducing class size, whether that's providing more intervention teachers, whether that's providing more mental health supports for our kids. We need to make sure that those resources are used wisely and responsibly.
Okay, thank you. Kent?
Yeah, well, I think, based upon what the environment has been in the last several years, I think one of the huge challenges we have, and I think maybe it's been mentioned, is recovery from COVID. Our students have lost 2 years of education in many cases. How do you make that up in a hurry? Well, you really probably can't, but that's a challenge. We're going to have to figure out how to do that. Another issue is the integration of state and local educational policy. And, it seems that the state has its own ideas about what students should be learning and not learning. And the local level oftentimes somewhat disagrees with that. And I think rightfully so. So I think that there's going to be a real challenge in trying to, yes, follow what the state tells us to do as much as possible, but also to be localized to the extent that we can be, that we can bring in additional information. We can have even courses that augment existing courses, materials that augment textbooks, if at all possible. And I think, that being able to get along with the state and also accomplish our local goals is something that I think is going to be a challenge. But I think we can do it. Also, I think that with regard to communication, it's always a challenge to get all the parties to be able to communicate with each other. Oftentimes, parents are isolated from the board, for example. The board may be isolated somewhat from, the community, although not so much in Roseville. But to be able to get everybody on the same page, have the same objectives and the same goals, I think is going to be a challenge.
Okay, thank you. Jonathan.
All right, yeah, I would echo what Alyssa and Kent said, all three of those categories. So I think student achievement, improving student achievement is going to be a challenge, especially just what we've seen over the last couple of years. I think some of the ways that we can do that is getting back to basics, really focus on core curriculum and what we can do to help support teachers in that regard and not distract maybe with some of the other things that are going on. So really getting to the core principles of what we want to do in education. There's uncertain financial times, right? A recession is probably here. The state, the bonuses and all the extra money that we got from the state and the federal government are not going to be here in the future. We're a growing district, so we're going to have to manage that. And so really be able to kind of look at the financials and project out correctly to ensure that we can continue to provide the best education, continue to recruit the best teachers for our families. And then, yeah, like Kent was mentioning, I think navigating some of the bad policies that come from the state where they are bad. Right. So we need to know more, know earlier and do better, I think, in that regard. So, one example might be how the start times, right? The new law that came back that forced high schoolers to have to start later. That really just took away local control over how we manage that. And I haven't spoken with one person who likes that decision. One of the first things that I would do is work with our state representatives to get that law repealed with an urgency clause so we can have that local control. So those are kind of some of the three areas that I think we have that are the challenges and ways that I would address them.
Okay, thank you. Renee?
Mental health problems can affect a student's energy level, concentration, dependability, mental ability, and optimism, hindering performance. The pressure to succeed in academics, financial stress, uncertainty about which classes or career path to take, increased social media use, and less stigma around seeking help can all be factors. I will advocate, if elected, for more nurses and counselors to help with these challenges. Technology in the Roseville City School District can be a challenge, but thanks to partner and education grants, the district has kept up with the learning demands of the 21st century. I will advocate for teachers to bring education and technology together and help bring funding for more updated technology in the classroom. Bullying is always a challenge and can have an impact on the learning aptitude of some students. Computer and cell phone technology has given bullies even more ways to torment their victims through social networking, texting, and other virtual interactions. Cyberbullying can be a major challenge since parents, teachers, and administrators are unsure of how to legally handle such issues. I will advocate for more policies to help suppress cyberbullying and bullying. Students' attitudes and behaviors. Studies cite students' attitudes such as apathy and disrespect as a challenge leading to tardiness and absenteeism. I will advocate for more resources like teacher assistance and more parent volunteers to keep behavior in check. And finally, parent involvement can be a challenge. I will advocate for ways parents can be involved and support their child's education at the same time. My mother was the first Spanish translator in the schools, and she was definitely advocating for making sure that we had more parent involvement. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Renee. All right, question number 3 is going to go to, I'm sorry. Question number 2 is to you, Rob.
Challenges, correct?
Challenges, what are the biggest challenges?
I think I'm gonna start with I think what is one of the biggest challenge and potential threat, which is this idea of focusing on students over politics. Serving on the board for the past 4 years, the emphasis is on our local policies, our local kids, and what happens here in Roseville City School District. We have successfully worked with our partners in the state, but at the end of the day, being on the school board here in Roseville is about serving the students of Roseville. We talk about school safety. We know that school safety is top of mind for all parents. For the past 12 years, I've worked for the City of Roseville Police Department. I'm an emergency manager, I'm a crisis communicator, and I also have advanced training in crime prevention. So we talk about this idea of making our schools safer. That is a challenge and a top priority of the current board. We also talk about social emotional gaps from kids. Those all fall into that idea of school safety. Of course, academic success is the most important thing that this Board of Education should be focusing on at all times. And that happens when the board, district administration, our professional staff, and our teachers work together to focus on academic success and student achievement. I believe that's happening, and I believe it will continue to happen. We also have to recognize the challenge and threat of retention and recruitment of teachers. This is a great place to work. This is a fantastic place to work, but us and RCSD have the same struggles finding qualified candidates.
Thank you. And sorry. Okay, question 3 goes to Kent. It is, what do you view as the strengths of the district?
Well, I think that the cooperative attitude, oh, sorry. Can you got it? I think the cooperative attitude of parents and also the board and the community, they all really seem to want to do the best job possible. And having all 3 of those entities on board is, I think, extremely important. I think also the desire to increase student productivity, to increase student achievement. And I think that that is a very strong attribute of the district. And I think we're extremely fortunate because other districts aren't quite so fortunate in that regard. So I think that that's a great strength. Also, I think the fiscal responsibility of the district is something that I think is admirable. They're watching the money, seeing where it's going. They're putting it in places where it'll do the most good. And I think another strength is the ability, and I think and the desire to kind of branch away from just the directions that the state is providing. Several people have mentioned it, and I think that's very important because the state has a viewpoint that isn't necessarily matched to the community where the students are being taught. So those are all strengths. I think also the desire to try new things and develop new technologies and develop every student's ability to the maximum is a real strength.
Okay, great. Thank you. Jonathan.
Yeah, so I think the district is pretty strong in a lot of areas. I believe that we have a lot of program offerings that are important. I believe for academics, especially relative to a lot of other schools, are pretty good. We're a very desirable district. We're well managed and we have great teachers. And so I think it's important that we continue to have all of that there and do more. Again, going to the management side, I think one thing that was done really well, at least during COVID, as much as we could. I mean, there's a few areas I would improve, but by and large, listen to the parents in the community, especially I think in the beginning. Roseville City School District was one of the first school districts to open full-time in the state because they were willing to listen, they were willing to be creative in how they were able to look at some of that state guidance that was coming out, and they were able to do good for our students because of that. My daughter, when she was in 8th grade, and this is January, she was one of only 4% of 8th graders that were in person back in January of 2021. So I think that's a testament to the things that Roseville City did well. And like I said, I would like to enhance those with my role on the board.
Okay, thank you. Renee?
Communication between the teachers and parents and the community has always been and will continue to be a strength in the district. And the reserves that the district has when it comes to adopting budgets has always been a strength. Other strengths are how the district continues to provide students opportunities for a learner-centered education in a safe and nurturing environment that promotes success in academic, social, and emotional growth. I am a product of the Roseville High School, and so are my 2 brothers and my 2 sisters. Our teachers prepared us to be lifelong learners with a growth mindset. And that is a strength that all children can come away with if they apply themselves. Another strength is the district recruits and retains high quality faculty, staff, and support personnel to improve student academic performance. And they work to ensure the students are promoted each year to eventually attend a public high school, private high school, or a religious high school of their choice, with the mindset that they will be college and career ready. Another strength is that district leaders, campus leaders, faculty, and staff members are assuring that all students are receiving a quality education by working collaboratively toward the fulfillment of educational goals at the federal, state, and district level. Another strength is how the teachers continue to practice desegregating data and continue to use this data to guide more students in acceleration and intervention. Another strength, the last one, is to have students catch up and have the students continue to assess and monitor more in the areas of reading, writing, learning, and speaking, especially for at-risk students, English language learners, and special education students. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Renee. Rob.
4 primary strengths, and number one that most have mentioned is we are a people business in that the majority of our budget is focused on people, our employees. So when we talk about our teachers, when we talk about our classified staff, when we talk about our district administration, we have one of the best teams assembled around. That is, I would say, by and away, our number one best strength in the district. Then we look at how the district has been so financially sound from the hard work of past and present chief budget officials who focus on spending within our means and focus on running a fiscally sound operation. We are a growing district, and there are some great successes that can come from that through building new schools, having the money to be able to add and evolve new programs, but it also has to be done appropriately, has to be done smart and strategic. And I believe the district has a great plan to do that. One, build new schools, but also care for our existing infrastructure. And again, that goes back to the great staff we have who's taking care of what we have. And then the final piece I'll end on is, and it is why every parent out there should choose Roseville City School District, is because we offer an exceptional education for every kid who comes in the district. We have great programs from IB and AVID, Project Lead the Way. We have teachers committed to their kids, and we have teachers committed to growing our district in an amazing, awesome way.
Great. Thank you, Rob. And Elisa.
Well, I would agree. I mean, it's wonderful to be in a district that has so many strengths. And I think our biggest strength, as Rob mentioned, is our people. We are a people business. 83% of our budget is dedicated to staff benefits and salaries. So, you know, the bulk of our money is put right back into our classrooms that's closest to our students. So that is certainly one of our biggest strengths. We believe in investing in our people. We have a lot more professional development days in other districts. We believe in making sure our staff has the resources to continue to do their jobs professionally and being up to date and having good training throughout their years here. Another one of our strengths is our local leadership. One of the reasons that we were able to go back to school before a lot of other districts in California, and certainly amongst the region, was because we have a very high functioning relationship between our board, our parents, and our teachers and our labor unions. That was the critical difference between us and many other districts throughout the state, because we can all get in a room and talk about what's best for kids and strategize that together. We were planning from the very first day that we were closed how we would reopen together. And that was only possible because we have these strong relationships and we all believe in each other and believe in the trust that we have to put our students first. So I'm very grateful for our district for that, for all of our students. And that is one of our hugest strengths, I believe, in our district. As Rob also mentioned, we have great educational programs here. We're very intentional about our programs. We have a pathway from our elementary to our middle to our feeder high schools to make sure that those students can stay on those same paths with AVID, with Project Lead the Way, with IB, with foreign language. So it's very intentional and it's very thoughtful in our planning. And then the final strength is our parent engagement, which is the reason why I moved to Roseville. I knew that we had strong schools here, and these were community schools that our parents were welcome and engaged in.
Okay, thank you, Elisa. The next question is going to start with you, Jonathan. And the question comes from, I'll give you a little bit of context first. There's been a lot of discussion, seems recently, especially with what's going on in the nation, about the safety of our schools. And so the question is, do you support the current plan and direction of the Roseville City School District Board in regards to school safety?
Yes, thank you for that question. So by and large, yes, I support the plan. I think it's important that we have, safe schools is incredibly important. And I've heard Rob and Alyssa and others touch on this. That's, I think, a key element that we need in order to have positive learning environment, right? You have to feel safe at school. I think working with the local police department is important. I've seen what they're doing with our school districts from the elementary to the high school. And I really appreciate what they're doing. And I would like to see more of that involvement with the police department, making sure we have resource officers present. And obviously I have kids in high school too, so I'm kind of speaking a little bit to that. But yes, by and large, I think it's important that we involve the police. I think it's important that we have policies that help parents and families and students feel safe.
Okay, thank you for that, Jonathan. Renee.
Yes, I support the current plan and direction of the school board in regards to safety. As you know, there has been from various other districts problems with safety, and at least at the high school level, having resource officers there is a plus. I don't know if we need it in the K-8 district, but I think it is very important that the police come to our schools and they talk to the students and they come in and have some dialogue, just how they need to be safe, whether or not, something happens, hopefully not in our district, but if something happens that they know how to react. Also, I'm thinking about the safety of the students that happened during the pandemic, because during the COVID pandemic, it wasn't safe for the students to come to school, and academic growth for students, scholars dropped across every grade in reading, math, writing, and science. And it was attributed to the lack of in-person learning, attendance, and the degree of student engagement. So right now I support the plan of having students be in the classroom 5 days a week, but I also support parents' choice. If parents want to continue to have their students to be homeschooled because of safety reasons, because of the pandemic, some parents say their children are more creative at home and maybe be able to learn easier at home. So that could be a possibility of the parents saying, oh, I don't know if the schools are safe, but absolutely the schools are safe. And I think that it's important that students are in the classroom 5 days a week and that they can build up their self-confidence and their sense of safety and communication. So the school board, I feel, is correct in their plan for safety. And I think it's very important that we have the students there 5 days at work. But it's also important that maybe we have some police officers there every now and then.
Okay, thank you, Renee. Rob.
When I ran for school board 4 years ago, this was one of the priorities that I ran on, and I will I'll speak a bit for myself and Elisa, because starting 4 years ago and previous to that, we had pushed for a continued investment in school safety. It has been a top priority of the board, and we have seen the evolution of some of those changes take effect. This year, I'll speak for myself, I know Elisa feels the same, is we have a $2 million investment that we are currently working on for school safety initiatives across the district. And we recognize that the district administration are open to any idea possible. Now, everything comes with a cost. And I think that is where the board comes into play, is strategically finding the best way to use the resources we have to make our schools safer, from the front door to the office to the back door of the campus. Now, we know as a board and as parents, when students feel safe at school, they are more open to learning. They're more adaptable to learning. And that has been one of the primary emphasis to move forward with some of these school safety initiatives. And I'll also make a point to say, I mean, Elisa said it, working with our labor partners to find the best solutions, because we know that not every school safety initiative is everybody's most favorite, but we have a commitment to continue to make our schools safer, to make students feel safer, and to ensure that we can still provide exceptional education when kids are on campus.
All right, thank you. Elisa.
So, when we send our kids out the door, we trust our schools to keep them safe. That's, we're giving our schools our most precious resource, right? These are our kids. When we're letting them go, because we know we are trusting our schools to take care of them. So safety has always been a priority of our board. It's not because of recent events. We've been looking at safety from the day that I've been on the board. Every year we look at our safety measures. We get outside consultants to give us advice about, what are the best steps that we can take to keep our schools as safe as they possibly can be within our resource constraints. So it's top of mind. We have to continue to invest in safety measures every year. We'll continue to do that. And we have to evaluate our protocols, and we have to prepare for scenarios that we really hope we never have to experience. We need to train our staff. We need to educate our students to be prepared for things that we hope we never have to experience. So we are investing in our safety protocols. And as Rob mentioned, we need to make sure we're investing in keeping our kids safe mentally, socially, emotionally, making sure they're in a good place. So when they come to school, they feel safe. They're not having anxiety. They're not avoiding school. It needs to be a place where they feel welcome, they feel accepted, and they feel like they belong. So that's another really big, important part of our safety commitment to our parents and to this district. So I'm really proud of the decisions that we've made. It is a resource limitation. We don't want our schools to be fortresses. We want them to be welcoming places, but we need to find that balance where we're investing appropriately and making sure that our students and our staff feel safe and comfortable.
Thank you. Kent.
Well, I think one of the best attributes of this community is that it is lucky to be a very safe community. So it does make the job of security a little easier. But I think everybody here is aware of the dangers that are out there and what can happen to the kids as they're leaving school, as they're coming to school, or even if they're in school. So that awareness, I think, is as part of the plan for safety, extremely important. Also, I think the integration with law enforcement is an awesome part of the plan as well. It seems to be. Might even suggest that we do, or the school does, a maybe day at the police department, where they get a chance to go down to the police department, have a tour, talk to law enforcement. And I think that will even help to integrate more the law enforcement with the students. Student education and safety. Within classrooms, there's discussion, there should be at least, and I believe that if there is, of dangers for students and the things that they should be aware of and should be alert of when going from and to school. And so that kind of education is extremely important. Then I noticed there are cameras. I don't know if there are cameras in every room, but I have a feeling there are. And that, having the ability to electronically monitor what's going on is a great safety feature that I think is very important. So embracing technology appears to be part of the plan. Staff training, I think I was really glad to hear that as part of the plan, because I think that's extremely important as well. That staff be aware of what the dangers are and how to protect the students.
Great. Well, thank you. The next question, we'll start with you, Renee. And this question is, what should the schools prioritize to best prepare our children for the future?
I would say some of the priorities are to, like people said before, to make sure the students are in class, make sure that they're able to learn and able to take tests, and hopefully have some of the tests be part of, the systemic change that we want, of the schools that we want to develop that are not maybe as, like the have and the have not. So I would say that is something that we need to develop. I'm also thinking some of the priorities should be to, we hired 65 teachers this year, and to make sure that, and I'm sure this is happening because when I was on the school board in the past, we made sure we had like a buddy system, and we had an older teacher or a veteran teacher be with a younger teacher. So I think that should be our priority, to make sure that the newer teachers stay and are retained. So I think that's very important. And then if elected to the board, I think some of the priorities should be around the goals, and the goals can be around achievement, instruction, communication, involvement, and diversity. So I think it's very important that that each board member that's elected share and have a consensus regarding the priorities. And then of course, every year we have some type of retreat and then go over the board's policies and see how we can make sure that we work with the superintendent and then get all the policies and priorities done if possible.
Great. Thank you, Renee. Rob.
Confirming, what should the district prioritize? Yep.
What should the school district, I said schools, so what should the schools prioritize?
Thank you for the question. So schools, number one, recruitment and retention of quality employees. Our teachers in the classroom are our biggest and best asset. And that's where our investment should go in, is to make what happens in those classrooms incredible for the kids who are there. We talked a lot about continued focus on academic success. So providing the supports, providing the training, and providing the ability for people to excel in all levels of the district. And also prioritizing what it looks like for teachers' aides, what it looks like for behavioral aides, however we can bring back and focus on what happens in the classroom. Now, prioritizing at school sites, we obviously want to provide, schools and that are not only safe, but schools that have shade, schools that provide services to kids, schools that are a place where kids feel safe and they want to go to learn, to be able to engage with their friends and feel like it is a learning and enriching environment. So I think there are so many things that we could prioritize throughout the district, but in the classroom and making the classroom the best place possible, that is the number one thing that all of our schools, the district, everybody should focus on.
Great, thank you. Lisa.
Also along those lines, the top priority is of course getting as much resources as possible as close to the kids as possible. And so that's being in the classroom. Those are the teachers that are in front of our students. Those are the resources that our teachers have, and the supports that those teachers have academically for our students. So absolutely, that's the top priority, is just making sure we have strong teachers and strong academic instructions for our students. that would be definitely the priority. Also, reducing class size, I think, is a huge priority for us. I know we've invested a lot of our funds this year, some of our extra funds to reducing class size to help our teachers give a little bit more attention, a little bit more support to some of our students. That reduces their workload a little bit, and it also just gives our students more attention to focus on some of their academic instruction. So I think that's another priority for us. And then also just making sure that we're using data to drive our decisions. As a district, we're one of the few that really look at data, not just at the state level one time a year, but we're looking at data on a very regular basis to check in with where our students are at, to see if students need intervention early in the process. And so we can give them those supports early on and make sure that we're going to get them to that level that we need them to be so they can move on to the next grade and be successful. So just investing in our academic instruction, reducing class size, and then paying attention to our data.
Okay, great. Thank you. Ken?
Yeah, I think that there are several areas where I think the school should really emphasize to be successful. And I think being aware of the current culture, not only in the school, but in our country and in our state, and making sure that our children don't become victims of indoctrination and political indoctrination in particular. And that is a very sinister thing because it creeps slowly into the schools in various ways. It can even do it through math problems. It can do it through, announcements or certain situations in textbooks. And I think that pressure is going to be on our schools. And it's going to be very difficult to keep that kind of training, that kind of education out of the schools. So it's going to be very important that our teachers are aware of what that what that is and how to identify it and how to make sure that when we are teaching, that we're teaching facts and not an agenda. And I think that's going to be extremely important. Also, I think it's very important to recognize that every student is different. And we should recognize the special needs of students at both ends of the spectrum. There are students that are physically challenged that we need to take care of. We need to get them to develop to the highest possible level they can. On the other hand, there are also students that are extremely gifted in certain areas. Those students need equal attention. Because if we emphasize only one side of the equation and don't emphasize the other, then we suffer. We suffer as a culture and we suffer as a community and a country. So those are things that I think that should be priorities in the school district. Okay.
Thank you. Jonathan.
Yeah, I won't need the full 2 minutes. I do echo a lot of what was said by other candidates here tonight on the priorities. But I think number one, we need to prioritize our students, right? Serve the needs of all students. And so as was mentioned, that might mean different things for different kids. We have some kids that, we want to be able to offer advanced programs. Other kids, it may just mean getting them up to grade level. And so it's obviously there's going to be a balance between competing priorities and resources. But at the end of the day, we need to focus on our students and work together with all those competing resources to see what can we do best for them.
All right, thanks. Well, we made it through all 5 questions. It's time for closing remarks. We'll start with Rob Becerra.
First of all, I would like to just start off by thanking the RCSD Foundation for doing this, because I think this is just a critically important space for everybody to be in, to hear from the candidates who will represent all of our 11,000 kids throughout the district. So I want to thank you for doing that. I want to thank Trustee Fong, who serves as the board member on the foundation. And I had previously served on the RCSD Foundation. And I think it was a great way to learn all the benefits that you bring. So thanks to the foundation. I am thanking my supporters. I'm proud to say that I'm endorsed by both the Roseville Teachers Association and the California School Employees Association, our classified staff. I think having the support of our employees is incredibly important to me because I think they are our biggest and best asset that we have. I want parents to know that my goal is to not fall on any side of the political spectrum. My goal is to be a moderate voice on the board, and my goal is to be accessible to parents. If you have a problem, a question, or a concern, I want you to come to me, and I certainly will not be able to solve every issue that you have, but I think working with our community, working in collaboration with our parents, that is ultimately what drives RCSD to be one of the best districts in the area, continue to be one of the best districts in the area, and it is key to our continued success as a district. So again, thank you.
Thank you. Lisa.
So I want to thank the foundation as well for putting this on. And I want to thank the parents and the people out there that are listening for taking the time to learn a little bit about the candidates. And so you can make an informed decision when you cast your vote this November. I want to say that it hasn't been an easy journey being a board member the last few years. I started in 2016 to serve my community, to help make my kids' school a better place. And it's been pretty challenging the last couple of years. And a lot of people have asked me why would you want to continue to do this? Your kids you're out of the district, but it's still very important work. And that's why I'm running again. I think what I bring to the table is a lot of experience and a lot of relationships that I have with parents in this community, with staff, with teachers. And I like Rob, I'm also endorsed by the Teachers Association and the Classified Union as well, because we're all in this doing this work together for our kids. And it is important work, and I really want to be sure that when I'm here, that I'm making a positive impact. So I'm running because I want to serve my community, because I feel like I've had a positive impact on my kids' classrooms, which led to having a positive impact on my kids' schools. And then now serving the district, I feel like I've been able to have a positive impact. And I really enjoy the work that I do here. I've been out to all 20 of our schools multiple times. I've met with our principals multiple times. I've been in dozens and dozens of classrooms over the year. And it really gives me a lot of hope for our community and for our parents and for our kids, that there's so many good people here in Roseville doing the work and doing the important work of educating our kids. And I just hope to be a part of that and serve our community. So I hope we wrote. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to thank the foundation for this opportunity. We don't get a lot of opportunities to reach a number of people at one time like this. So this is really pretty awesome. And I do appreciate it. I think that, there are things that have happened or are happening in the educational area. And the main reason that I'm running is because of what's been happening. I notice in the classroom over the last 10 years or so, and I've been there a long time, that the student quality has been going down steadily over that period of time. Students initially, when I started teaching, were ambitious, they were hardworking, they had high standards, and they were a pleasure to work with. As the years passed by, the quality of those students and the preparedness of those students for college life just was really lacking. And it's difficult to see that trend. Now you might say, well, you've taught at the university, but this isn't the university. This is, grammar school and middle school. Well, that's true, but it all begins with grammar school and middle school. And the attitude of the students and their love of knowledge and their love of achievement begins here. And why I'm running is because I would like to see that, make sure that attitude is here, that attitude is growing here, and that the culture is changing here.
Thank you. Jonathan.
Again, I want to say thank you to the foundation. I want to say thank you to all the candidates here and thank you to all those that are tuning in and watching and trying to be informed on this election. I would say that if you believe that we as a community, which includes ensuring parents have the seat at the table, but if you believe that we as a community should be able to have local control over education policy, which help improve our schools and make sure that they're the best schools in the area, then we're on the same page. I'm a parent, I have skin in the game, but not only that, I'm a proven community leader. And you don't just have to take my word for it. I'm endorsed by several community leaders, including our current state assembly member, our next state assembly member, Placer County supervisors, the Placer County Board of Education trustees, the entire Roseville Joint Union High School District, and several others. And so I would be honored to represent the families of Roseville and the voters of Roseville, and I humbly ask for your vote.
Great, thank you. Renee.
Yeah, I also want to thank you, Mr. Goolsby and Ms. Perez and the Roseville City Foundation for inviting all the candidates tonight. I was serving on the school board when the foundation was created to assist the district with providing the means to enhance and enrich the educational needs of the Roseville children. I share the foundation's ongoing passion and commitment to a high standard of education, and I even volunteered to be a DJ playing music during the Run for Roseville fundraisers when I was on the school board. So I just want to talk about my priorities again. On this school board. If elected, I want to provide safe schools, give more funding to increase classroom resources for teachers as needed, support all teachers to improve academic outcomes, and be a fiscal conservative so to responsibly manage the finances to meet future and current goals, and to ensure students and parents stay engaged inside the classroom and outside, like on field trips to Sutter's Fort to learn about California history. You have received your official ballot at your home, so I'm asking for your vote. My name is Renee Aguilera, and I'm first on the ballot. So I'm asking for you to vote for me, Renee Aguilera. That's no relation to pop singer Christina Aguilera, but please vote for me, Renee the DJ, on election day.
All right, thank you, Renee. And that concludes our night. Thank you to all the candidates for sitting up here and answering our questions. I know you could speak probably longer and answer more questions because it's stuff you're passionate about, but that is all we have for tonight. And thank you for everybody that's tuning in. Last quick little message. We are, I am here on behalf of the Roseville City School District Foundation. This will remain on our YouTube channel. It'll also be on our website. If you're curious to learn more about the foundation, get involved, potentially contribute by sponsoring or donate, please visit our website at rcsdfoundation.org. And that is all I have for you tonight.